Hello guys and welcome back to the channel. So thank you all so much for all of the support and all of the constant messages and everything that you guys have been sending in. I really hope that, especially in these last 9-10 days of UCAT prep, that everything is going well. So today we've got a couple of QR questions that we're going to be running through just really quickly, and just a couple of things to kind of like do as such. And so these are just some of the questions that some people had some queries on. There's some tricky questions in here, there's definitely some interesting ones in here, and some puzzling questions as well. So let's get straight into it. So this question, I think this question is not necessarily too bad. But so we'll go through it first and then we'll get onto the query that someone raised about this. So what's the average amount of quarterly viewers of the Y factor across the whole year? So quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, quarter 4. Y factor is the grey, so this is 6 million. This is 4.4. This is 5. And this is 5.4. So 6 plus 5 plus 5.4 plus 4.4. Divide that by 4 and you're going to get about 5, 6 plus 4.4 plus 5 plus 5.4 divided by 4. And I got 5.2 million. Okay, so it's a fairly straightforward question. The query that someone raised, and I actually agree with them, is they said, why isn't the fact that this is average weekly viewers taken into account here? And I'll be honest, I think this is just a badly calculated question, badly worded question. So I think it should have said, what is the average amount of weekly viewers per quarter across the whole year? That's how they should have said it. But they said average amount of quarterly viewers. But yeah, I think it's just one of those where I think if you try to take into account the weekly aspect, that answer wouldn't have been possible here. So you basically can't have got this answer wrong, if that makes sense. Like you might have done it the other way, tried to take into account the weekly viewers, fine, but your answer just wouldn't have been present, if that makes sense. Okay, cool. So yeah, just something to have a think about, basically. Great. Okay, awesome. So yeah, let's keep going then. On to the next question. Okay, great. So on to this question. So this is actually the question that I had a little bit of trouble with. So let's have a look at this. Assume that the field is big enough for the water to be delivered completely inside a field for all different angles of elevation. Approximately how much more of the field could be watered by a pump set at an elevation of 7 degrees compared to a pump set at an elevation of 3 degrees? So with that info, I haven't really got much here, so I'm just going to try to understand it. A market gardener owns a rectangular field. Remember, you are allowed to read the abstract. One of the things that I tell students is obviously don't read the abstract first, but they think that means you can't read the abstract. That's wrong. It just means you probably shouldn't read it first. Okay, so to water the field, he uses 4 pumps, 1 in each corner. Each pump is set to rotate horizontally at 90 degrees. When in use, each pump delivers 15 litres of water every 20 seconds. The nozzle of each pump can be set at different angles of elevation, which allow it to shoot water greater distances. Water is delivered everywhere within a quadrant defined by the distance given in the table. And actually, I think I've just figured out the reason for why I was finding this question difficult, just as I'm filming this, actually. So the point here is he's got a rectangular field. And it's important to understand that this pump, what it's going to do is it's going to kind of shoot out water in this kind of circular motion, if that makes sense, all across, kind of like this. Okay, that's what basically matters. However, and it was just by reading this bit that I finally understood it. It says he uses 4 pumps, 1 in each corner. So it basically means that your pump actually does not shoot water on this bit here. This bit's not relevant. It's just on this corner bit because the other bit's not going to be in it. Do you see? And then that's going to be the same in all 4 areas as well. So basically, when you're working out the area, obviously you can see this is going to be area of a circle question. You basically have to divide that area by 4. Okay? Do you guys see where I'm coming at this from? So I can go on and explain it. So all this is, it's just the area of 2 circles. So it's just pi r squared, where this is r1, minus pi r2 squared. That's all it is. So we can factor out pi. So r1 squared minus r2 squared. R1 is going to be the larger radius, that's 120 meters squared, minus the smaller one, which is 80 meters squared. So remember, it's okay to do mental maths if it's going to be faster than using the calculator. Here, it's just going to be faster for me to use the calculator and figure out that this is 8,000, 120 squared minus 80 squared. So times this by 3.14, and you get 25120 meters squared. However, we're not done with the answer yet, because what that worked out there is the area of if like all the quadrants were spraying water, or if water was sprayed onto all of the field. But remember, it's only sprayed onto 1/4 of the field. Remember? So it's only sprayed onto 1/4 of the field. Only this bit of the field gets that water. That's what matters. Okay, so yeah, that's what matters. Okay, so therefore, to get our final answer, we have to just divide this by 4, and you get 6,280 meters squared, which I believe is the answer. So I think the difficulty I had was I kept getting to this answer, the 25120. But even just right now, as I was looking and reading the question, so you can see here, like, the point is, I don't tell people abstracts are completely useless. I don't tell people that every single abstract is completely useless, but a lot of them are. Okay, so just bear that idea in mind. So yeah, this is the answer to this question. I think it was quite a tricky question, I'll be honest. I did struggle with it quite a bit. But importantly, very, very much doable. That's the key idea. Okay, great. Awesome. So let's keep going then. On to the next question. Okay, so on to the next question then. So patinomol can be used to treat a rare condition R. It requires high dosage of 10 milligrams per kilogram and is unsafe to exceed 2,000 milligrams in one treatment period. It's treated 4 times daily for 2 weeks. What's the maximum body mass of an animal can be to not exceed the unsafe quantity? Answer to 3SF. So if they need 10 milligrams per kilogram, but they need it 4 times daily for 2 weeks, so you'll need 40 milligrams per kilogram daily. And then over the 2 weeks, you're going to need, so times this by 4. And then, so over the 2 weeks, you can times this by 14, which is going to be 560 milligrams per kilogram over that treatment period. Over that treatment period. Okay. And if you have the maximum dose you can take is 2,000 milligrams. If you do 2,000 milligrams divided by 560 milligrams per kilogram, the milligrams cancel and the kilogram kind of flips to the top, if you can imagine that. So you get 3.57 kilograms. Okay. So therefore, what's the maximum body mass an animal can be to not exceed the unsafe quantity? 3.57 kilograms. So the important point here is just about kind of trying to follow it through in as logical a manner as possible. That's what was really important. Okay. Cool. So yeah, that's basically the key idea here. Okay. Great. So yeah. Let's keep going on to the next question. Okay, so on to the next question. So a plane makes a journey from Brazil, departing 6:30 to France, and then from France departing 4 o'clock to Turkey, arriving 21:30. How long is the plane in flight? So since France is the middle point, I think I'm going to convert everything into France time. So Brazil to France is a 4-hour difference. So this departs at 10:30 France time, and it says, blah, blah, blah. And then from France departing at 4 o'clock. So it goes Brazil, France, Turkey. So it departs Brazil at 10:30, departs again at 1600, and it says it arrives in Turkey at 21:30. So Turkey is 2 hours ahead, so that's going to be 19:30. Okay. So a plane spends 30 minutes stationary on the ground between flights. So here it's 3 hours and 30, but it actually only flies for 3 hours. Here it's 3 hours and 30. So in total, the total time it flies for is going to be 6 hours and 30 because it spends 30 minutes in flight. I guess actually the fast way to do it would have been to calculate, that's I've done the maths wrong there. I need to watch myself. So it's not 3 hours here, sorry. It should be 5 hours because it's 5.5 hours, but obviously 30 minutes on the ground and then 3.5 hours. So it's going to be 8 hours and 30 minutes. So 8 hours, 30 minutes in total in flight. Okay, perfect. So on to the next question. Okay, and so on to our final question then in that case. Okay, so let's have a look at this one. So the shop is open 90% of the year. What's the yearly net income? So that's total money taken minus costs from selling newspapers, magazines, and bread. So we don't need to worry about the others. So purchase price, retail price, you can see we're going to have to use this number. There's a discount per 500, there's quantity of stock per... so the fastest way to do this, if the amount of stock purchased and the amount of stock sold were equal, would have just been to be like, okay, so you buy 700 stock and you sell 700. So the difference here is 0.75, or you'd work out what the adjusted one is with the 2%. But because you don't necessarily sell every single part of the stock you buy, you have to account for that. So actually the fastest way to do it is probably to work out how much it all costs. Okay, so work out the cost for newspaper plus magazine plus bread. So for newspaper, it's going to be 0.75 times 700. But then there's a 2% discount, so times 0.8. For magazine, it's going to be 1.5 times 580 times 0.95. And then for bread, it's just going to be 0.8 times 400. So if I add up these values together, I'm going to get 1661. So 1661. And remember, this is per week. Okay, so the fastest way for me to do it is to get it per week, and scale it up to a year, and then do times 0.9 because it's 90% of the year. So this is the costs. Now to work out the kind of revenue, we just have to do the same thing, but it's going to be much easier. And this is where, by the way, using the calculator is going to be vital, because obviously in my calculator I can just put it in like this, but on the official UCAT calculator you have to do each one individually. So being able to put it into that memory function is absolutely crucial. So retail price 1.4 times 641 plus magazine is 2.2 times 560 because it's just how much is sold, and then the bread is going to be 1.1 times 378. So once again, if you put all this into your calculator, you'll get 2545.2. And so if you subtract one from the other, you will get your weekly profit, which equals £884.2. But of course, the key idea here is you have to multiply this by 52 for the whole year and then times it by 0.9 because it's only 90% of the year. And if you do that, you'll end up with 41,380.56. And that's going to therefore round to £41,381. Okay, which is the answer. And yeah, unfortunately, there's not much of a faster way to do it. You just kind of have to brute force it this way. This is kind of the only way to go about doing it, unfortunately. Okay, great, awesome. So yeah, so I hope this video was useful. If you guys do have any other questions, please do let me know. But otherwise, take care, and I will see you guys in the next